Right, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us for today's webinar. This is part of our series with, a lot of the appraisal software writing companies. It's kind of a way for you to get familiar with UAD 3.6 and all of the options that you have out there to in your business or writing appraisal reports. I know that it's oftentimes appraisers kind of stick with the software that they're with for familiarity purposes, and that makes sense, right? But this is a complete overhaul that we are going through in our industry, and so if there's ever a time for you to consider something different, it's probably now. We're going to go ahead and talk to today with one of the newer players in this space. And I want to, before we get much further, we need to clear up some serious business. I need to know how we're going to pronounce the name of your company. I've been saying Ivory, but is that
Perfect.
it?
Yeah,
Is that
you're actually the
correct?
first person that got it right on the first. Everyone thinks Avery, but it's Ivory. So it stands for Artificial Intelligence Valuation Real Estate.
Okay. All right, and I even wrote it out phonetically here because I wanted to make sure that I was saying it the way I thought. So yeah, Ivory, we've got that out of the way. Ivory's one of the newer players to this space, but they're also bringing, from what I can tell, a lot of innovation. So it seems really exciting. So I'm going to do some introductions. First off, we got Jake Liu. Jake is a certified appraiser and he's the CEO of Ivory. Jake is working to make Ivory one of the first software writing companies to leverage and utilize artificial intelligence directly in the appraisal space. So think of him as the guy that's looking to trade his clipboard in for a rocket ship. Is that right?
Of course.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. And then joining him, we've got Jordan Lesson. He's the co-founder and CTO of Ivory, sorry. Jordan is the tech architect behind the curtain with over 8 years of experience in software development. He's worked at multiple AI related companies, and he's now using that experience to build one of the first truly AI focused appraisal software solutions. So together, Jake and Jordan are here to show us how Ivory is looking to streamline, enhance, and dare I say, modernize the appraisal process. So, Jake, I'm going to start with you. We're going to maybe hit a few questions here that I have before we get into the presentation. And as a certified appraiser, you've got kind of a unique perspective on this entire process. So, what was the light bulb moment that made you decide the industry needed Ivory?
It was kind of funny. It was back in like mid 2023. I was sitting on my buddy's couch playing with his newborn baby. It was on a Sunday, and as everyone knows in here, as an appraiser, Sundays are best day type reports. It's the day no one's calling, no one's emailing, and you can just sit back, type all day. And I was about to leave his house, and he goes, "Why are you working on a Sunday? Why can't you have AI do it?" So that was kind of like, wait, can AI actually do it? So I, went home and searched the idea up and found nothing online that had AI. You see like, AVMs, things like that, but never like report writing technologies that can use AI.
Right.
So, David made some introductions to Jordan and I. He put me in touch with Jordan, who was at the time working with him too as well. And I kind of pitched the idea and the whole appraisal process to Jordan from, start to finish. And he was like, yes, AI can actually do this. And then in January 24, him and I went full time together building Ivory.
Yeah, yeah, and you also consider the what was it, the kids that you were babysitting or that was
Yeah,
part
as a found as
he's
the
like
main
a part of the company, right?
a
I've
hundred
heard you.
percent baby Grant. Yeah, 100% baby Grant. So it's funny. Like, and my mom met his wife like 10 years ago at a hotel,
Yeah,
a local coffee shop actually here in Birmingham.
yeah,
And they stayed friends for 10 years. And his wife is like 26 years old. My mom's in her 60s at the time. And I was
yeah.
like, how are they friends? Old souls. And then all of a sudden, just kind of relationship built from there, and all of a sudden they had a baby Grant, and then that's how we met.
There we go. There we go. So baby Grant has already got some shares in the
Yes.
whole
He's a
process.
board member.
There you go.
He's on the
There
board.
you go. All right, so Jordan, as the tech mind here behind the platform, what's one of the thing you think appraisers will notice immediately whenever they start using Ivory?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think it's automation. And so when we first started this company, kind of one of the goals was that we're going to be full encompassing software, meaning that with some other software providers like Alamode and ACI, you might have to use and leverage third-party providers to maybe get other things for the report, things like your sketch, things like location maps, maybe importing data. You'd use something like Data Master for. And so from the start and from the beginning, our goal was to take all that and put it all into one platform. And in addition to that, add AI on top of it. So automation is our biggest thing. Our goal is to automate 80% of the report using data from public records, from MLS, from your inspection, and using that to fill out, again, 80% of your report. So that's going to be the biggest thing first and foremost.
Yeah, so that total, like the whole package, everything that you need is you're developing and incorporating into this entire process. I would assume that also includes the whatever process you do to collect the data while you're at the property, right?
Correct. Yep. So we have a mobile app solution too that we can go into as well, and it also includes some automation using AI too.
Fantastic. Probably looking at photos and pulling off materials and condition and things of that nature. Okay, well, I really look forward to seeing that in action. So I guess one last question here before I turn things over. We've heard a lot about AI in the news lately. Some excitement, some hesitation, right? And I think that there's even different camps in that regard. So how do you see AI fitting responsibly into the appraisal process?
Yeah. So as we see it, AI is not replacing the appraiser anytime soon. We're just using it as a tool to make you, the appraiser, more efficient. Going to be able to crank out reports faster. So either you can do more reports and make more money, or two, spend more time with your family. That's kind of the goal that we have here at Ivory.
And really too, at the end of the day, also an appraiser powered by AI is just only going to take our profession to the next level. I mean, at the end of the day, an AI is only as good as the data provided. It's our job to be able to spot hallucinations or incorrect data. As they're saying, bad data equals bad outputs. So it's our job to find those that great data and be able to import that into an AI where AI can spit out a good result, actually faster than we can actually analyze it. Which is at the end of the day, the appraiser still needs to essentially steer the AI into the right direction, and it's really going to make our profession level a lot better.
I mean, I've been saying all along, I've actually have presented on AI and appraisal and that topic some myself. The one question that always comes up is, well, is this going to replace this? I've always held the position, and I still do, that no, I don't think AI is going to replace appraisers, but I think appraisers who use AI may replace
100%.
Appraisers who don't. And so I really do think that there is a place for it. Y'all starting fresh right out of the box, and you're incorporating these tools into your solution right out of the gate. Whereas with my conversations with others, they plan on incorporating a lot of this type of technology into their solutions as well. But maybe it'll be after they've done other things or have a working prototype. So And I think that, it's just kind of where they started, and where you started, where you're kind of fresh and able to meet it right there. So no, thank you for that. I appreciate you spending time and kind of kicking off our webinar here with a few of those questions. Jordan, it's my understanding you're the one that's going to be driving the bus from here on out. I'm going to turn things over to you, so you can share your screen and start walking us through your solution.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and do that. Cool. So I should be sharing my screen now.
We see it.
Perfect. So first and foremost, what you're seeing here, this is the Ivory dashboard. This is essentially your mission control. You'll be able to see all your total appraisals you've done this year. Be able to see all the appraisals on a heat map and where they are in relation to each other, as well as view all your orders and also view any analytics searches that you've done through our platform. So first and foremost, I will show you what it looks like to open up an appraisal on our platform here. So I'll go ahead and open up a sample here. And this is what it looks like to fill out a report. This is our report editor for the new 3.6 standard. So a couple things to point out here. One is it's a modern approach to filling out reports. We went down the route of building a web application, a cloud-based application. Essentially, we aren't just your typical desktop software, but instead it exists on the web. So you'll be able to find our platform through ivory.com, and you'll be able to access your appraisals anywhere as long as you have Wi-Fi. So that's first and foremost thing I wanted to point out. On the left side here of our page, we have our navigation panel here. And so basically you'll be able to go through each section of the appraisal by the click of a button. And each section of the appraisal has your own subsections too. So maybe if I want to go to a certain subsection, it would navigate you there. Additionally, on the right side, this panel here, I call it the tools panel. And from here, you'll be able to do 5 different things. 1, you'll be able to upload files to your work file. 2, you'll be able to check whether your report is UAD compliant, as we're integrated with Freddie's UAD compliance API. 2, for each page, we have what's called a data validation tool. Essentially, we check each field on every page you're working on and check to see whether it's UAD compliant. And if it's not, we'll mark it for you and let you know what the error is there. Our 4th and most fun tool, in my opinion, is our AI chatbot, which we've named Ava. Essentially, this chatbot is trained on everything related to UAD 3.6. Whenever you have a question about any of these fields, please consult this chatbot and it'll give you a super in-depth answer based on all the documentation provided by the GSEs. I know when me and Jake both have questions regarding the appraisal, we always consult this chatbot and it hasn't failed us yet. So it's something I'll keep in mind, and it's something I'll demonstrate as I take you guys through the demo. And then lastly, we have your export options. You'll be able to export to XML format, basic PDF format, as well as, most importantly, the complete package zip file, which includes both the PDF, the XML, and the images used within the report. And if you guys don't know, for the new 3.6 standard, that's what you're going to be submitting to your clients. This is what the GSEs want and are going to be intaking. So for the most part, you're going to be exporting to that zip package there.
So I have a quick question. I see that you have a JSON option there as well.
Correct.
Although that isn't a file type that they can accept, I just was wondering, is that from a technology perspective that there's an advantage of being able to do that?
It's funny that you caught that. It's actually more for our development team to understand more about
Okay.
what's going around in the background, but it is an option. It doesn't really have much use.
Yeah.
No clients nor Freddie and Fanny want that, but it's more for us technical people to understand what's going on in the back end.
And I know
Yeah.
Jordan would prefer it be JSON over XML. Just one of
Yeah.
the
Well, you're not the only ones. I've
Yeah.
heard of others who, and look, I'm not a tech person. I know enough to be dangerous, but I do know enough that yeah, a lot of people are disappointed that that isn't the output. But you know, I saw it, and the reason why I asked is I didn't know whether there was a way it could be leveraged to do something else, maybe. So
At this
um,
moment, no, unfortunately.
okay,
Like you mentioned, the GSEs are stuck in their ways of this XML that they've been using for the past 20, 25 years. So
right,
that will probably be, this option will probably be going away once we go live with this software.
okay,
So
yeah,
just wanted to point that out. Moving on. So this is in the middle here. This is actually what you'll see in order to fill out the report. Each section has their own fields that you'll need to provide. Each section has its own theme of what data it will collect. For example, the assignment information section will collect information about the assignment, you know, things about the appraisal, the appraiser itself, any borrowers, sellers, owners involved in the report, the type of appraisal it is, if it's affiliated with a government agency. All that information will be laid out here for you. And we've organized it into these cool cards here that are super organized in our opinion. You can go ahead and add any, select a role. So maybe I'm adding a client to this list. I can be able to select what kind of client it is. Maybe it's an investor. And I would be prompted to fill out the information as displayed to me. And when information is needed to be collected, we make sure to mark it in red for you. So you'll be able to go ahead and know which fields to fill out. Another big thing about this new 3.6 report is that it's dynamic. It's the new keyword of 3.6. I'm sure if you've done any training on this, they've maybe said that word about 1,000 times. And that's something that we've leaned into. And we show that dynamicism by actually popping up new fields that are required. So for example, the government agency appraisal, when we check this box as yes, it will prompt us to answer which government agency this appraisal is affiliated with. So for example, I specify that it's FHA. And actually, throughout this whole report, you'll have tons of fields that are specific to that are necessary to collect for an FHA report. Same with USDA, VA, so on. So that's something I want to point out. And for example, like this, when I'm filling out my appraiser information, right here, I just have sample information here, but it will prompt me to enter in my FHA appraiser ID as well. And that's something that wouldn't show up if I didn't specify that.
Right.
So that's something I want to point out. If you have a supervisory appraiser involved, you can add in their information there. Any significant real property appraisal assistance, you put it here. And then lastly, for each section, you'll talk about, you'll be able to optionally add commentary on that specific section or add any exhibits. And exhibits are just additional photos that maybe give more help, more explanation on what decisions you made in that specific section there. So there is no addendum in this appraisal, where they're completely getting rid of that, and it's more organized and more relating to that specific section you're working on. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's the assignment information section. I'll go ahead and just jump through some of the other pages that we have here. For example, subject property. We're just giving information about the subject here, address, county, neighborhood name, whether it's in a project or not, other information like that. And you can see when I do select that it is in a project, it will actually have me specify what kind of project it is. whether it's a condo, a co-op, condop. And depending on what I press here, it will actually dictate what other fields show up in the report too. So again, showing off that dynamicism. Again, you'll be able to provide its attachment type, how many units, how many ADUs, and also how many dwellings are on the property too. You'll be able to specify what special tax assessments they are and provide a description of it, whether what the property rights appraised are. If it's just fee simple, you won't have to really answer anything else. If it's leasehold, you can enter that in, as well as if all rights are included in the or not included in the appraisal. Again, the dynamicism of the report shows. You'll be required to enter in different information on what rights were included. And let's say I select that mineral rights were not included. It will ask us whether they're leased or not. So again, dynamicism is huge in this report. Other standard things, legal description is still in the report. And again, subject property commentary, as well as exhibits, are necessary for this section as well. Amazing. So that's the subject property section. That's one of the more basic sections of this. We'll go ahead and go to the site section now. The site section can be pretty lengthy when compared to the last 2.6 report. I'll just scroll through it really quickly here. You can see there's tons of fields that are able to be collected. A lot of them, I will say, not to scare anyone, that they will not be needed for most properties. A lot of things you see are just added for maybe more information, or maybe they were needed because the property had it. So just wanted to point that out. A lot of these fields will not show, and it depends on the conditions of the property. Cool. So starting from the top here, we'll be able to specify things like the parcels on the property. And the cool thing here is that we organize, when we do have a list of information, we organize it into what we call these tab containers. And essentially, we're able to add things to these tab containers.
Nice.
And jump back and forth between the two. So if we have another parcel here that we need to add more information for, we can jump back and forth from these tabs and enter in the information. And this is a common component that exists throughout the whole appraisal. It's something that we leverage a lot, and we think it's going to be super helpful towards appraisers. Additionally, you'll be able to specify zoning. And I think this would be a good time to show off our use of AI in the report. So you may have seen next to some of these fields here that we have this blue button here. If we hover over it, it asks if you want to get help with AI using this report. And what we can do is that we can press that blue button. It will open up this chatbot here and auto-populate a prompt to this chatbot, to Ava. And we can enter that in, submit it, wait for a response. And what it will do is that we'll go through the 3.6 documentation. It will come up with the corresponding definitions, requirements of each option here, each allowable answer. And so you as an appraiser should not have any questions while filling out this report. And so we can see all the data being filled out. We can
so it acts pretty much as a resource, right? Instead of going to the selling guide or so if it would be a different response because it's a different, let's say FHA or something, I guess it would reference the handbook instead, or
yes, so this go ahead, Jordan. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we trained this chatbot on several things. So 3.6, the documentation regarding that is first and foremost, but other things like the FHA handbook, Fannie Mae selling guide, those are all implemented into the chatbot too. So that's all there in handy to you.
Eventually too, we want to add the use PAP guidelines in there too as well. So like make it kind of make it like an ultimate appraiser assistant where they can go to Ava for anything they need, basically for guidelines, questions or things like that. So that's eventually on our roadmap.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent feature. To have handy right there so you could ask questions and get good solid answers. So
and the cool thing is during the launch, all the conversations with Ava will be saved. So like basically when they want to go back and revisit the report, the conversation will be there for them too as well to go back and revisit.
Yeah.
Correct. And also the pitch, the vision of this. I mentioned before, we're planning on filling out 80% of the appraisal from start to finish after your inspection. And so what this chatbot allows us to do is that if we just give it two things, one, the information from your inspection, maybe some more information from MLS and public records, and then give it access to actually fill out fields in this report, I mean, it's going to have no problem filling it out. So that's what's going to come very, very soon in the future. Once we get compliant with the GSEs, is you can see this chatbot filling out and helping with the report.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to come there. I just wanted to pitch that a little bit. Other things, there's no residential property use. You can add in information what percent of the use was residential, whether it's primarily residential, any other non-residential uses, things like that.
Interesting.
Property access, you'll be able to specify the different types of access to your property. Maybe it's a private street, pedestrian only, private airstrip. And again, if you have questions about any of these, you can go ahead, press the AI button, submit it to the chatbot. And as always, it should give you a very accurate answer. When exhibits or photos are needed in the appraisal, we actually let you know that we'll say that this field is required, just so you'll never miss that. You can see that this AI is giving us some definitions here on the right as we're going through it. So we can do that. We can look through the different options here. And even a cool thing to point out here is also references what page of the documentation, specifically that F1 guide. If you guys are familiar with the technical resources of it, it'll tell you exactly where it's pulling its sources from too, which is also a cool thing to note.
So, it looks like access type there. It gives you like 5 specific, and then the sixth is the other, which I assume matches up with the enumerations that are available for that field, right?
Correct. So you'll see here at the bottom, it says other describe. And when you press that, you'll be able to type in a value here. So it's like a custom value.
Right?
Right. So we have that handled for you. And another cool thing to show off here is that the site influence table, again, we format these in these tab containers here. And if you add an influence, these are influences that are positive or negative to the market or value of the home. So for example, if I press body of water here, it'll prompt me to specify the impact of it. But also it will prompt you for every body of water that's, I guess, attached to the property or influencing the property. You'll need to specify more details on it. So for example, like whether it's a lake, a gulf, a creek, the body of water type, essentially. You'll be able to specify the name of it, whether it has private access rights, and its access depth. And so as an appraiser, this access depth, I mean, it's just the depth of the water. In 2.6, you weren't ever required really to note that down. And as an appraiser, you might be thinking, how do I understand that? Like how do I know what the depth is? Is Freddie and Fanny wanting me to put on my scuba suit and go into the water with the tape measure and actually measure it? I don't know. But again, what we could do is just utilize our AI chatbot here, utilize Ava, and it will tell us exactly what the different depth classifications are.
Nice.
So for example, deep water is water that's 4 feet or deeper. Shallow water is 2 to 4 feet, and non-navigable water is less than 2 feet deep. And so, again, should be no confusion when filling out the appraisal while using Ivory.
Right.
So that's something that we just do throughout the whole report for you. I'll go through the rest of this section pretty fast. You'll be able to specify the views of the property, any site features such as non-residential property uses, hazard zones, property restrictions, easements, encroachments, site characteristics, and provide commentary on each one. You'll be asked to provide information on utilities. A new field here is that you might have to specify whether there's broadband internet available on the property.
Mhm.
For the most part, there will be, unless your property uses like Starlink or some satellite technology. That would probably be the only reason when it would be no. And here you'll be able to specify the electricity, the gas, sanitary sewer, water, and its ownership. If I press non-public, that's private ownership, you'll be able to specify the impact of it, leave a comment, and add any more additional details to it as well, like the water source type maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see our first instance of the apparent defects, damages, and deficiencies. So this subsection here exists in many sections of the report.
There's 6, right?
I believe so. There's quite a
Okay.
bit of them, and
Yeah.
they all kind of follow the same conventional flow. Essentially, you'll be asked to specify whether it exists or not, and if it does, it will prompt you to add the defects to the property, to the specific section here. So it will ask me to define what the feature is, where it's located on the property, maybe a little bit more descriptive description of the defect, whether it affects the soundness or structural integrity of the property, and any recommended action. And it would also require you to upload exhibits or images of that defect as well. And those can be uploaded here. And you can go ahead and add as many defects as you want, and we'll go ahead and handle that for you within these tab containers. And again, these defects, damages, and deficiencies sections of the report show up all throughout the report. As you said, there might be, I think, 6 different occurrences of it. So just want to put that out there. And lastly, a common theme, again, adding commentary and even more exhibits on about the site section as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yep, that's the site section. You can go through the disaster mitigation section. Essentially, you'll be asked to choose from a list of disaster mitigations. If you pick one or multiple, it will prompt you to enter in commentary about that disaster mitigation, as well as provide any exhibits if you have any. Another new part of the report is the energy efficient and green features section. So essentially, this is where you'll note down all the renewable energy components of the property, any building certifications, green energy ratings, and you'll be able to find them here in these tab containers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just press yes for each of them. And if some do exist, then you'll be prompted to note the impact and value to marketability of these features, as well as provide a description as well. So that's something that's new that's coming to the report. I think for the most part, you'll need to do some research online for how to retrieve these green certification ratings and things like that. I think it depends on the specific county or city that the property's in. So that's something that we're also looking to automate as we go through this report. Another thing to show off here is our market section. So the market section of the report is essentially the replacement for the 1004 MC within 2.6. You'll be asked to specify the market area boundaries, the search criteria used for your market, how many active listings, pending sales, and actually any sales within a certain look back period, and you'll be able to find that for you. And as well as you'll be optionally, you can add graphs. And what I mean by that is that things like an absorption rate, median days on market, percent of distressed sales, price trend, years built of sales, can't be provided in graph form. Oh, hold on one second. But essentially, we got you covered for that. I'll go ahead and reload this real quick. So through our Ivory Analytics platform, which is just another product built into Ivory, is it will actually plug in directly to your MLS. And how we do that is when you onboard with us, we'll grab your MLS board and your MLS number associated with that board, and we can directly pull information from them. And that's something I'll show quickly after I go through this report. And you'll be able to pull information like these active listings, even the graphs we automate for you.
So Jordan, I have a question for you, if it's okay.
Yeah.
So I see that there you have some commentary in some of these commentary fields.
Yep.
Is that information that you put in there previously already yourself? Was that generated by AI? And then I guess my third question is, if it is something that you typed in, can you utilize AI to kind of help clean up the commentary that maybe was put there?
Yeah, so first and foremost, what you see here is actually one of the sample reports from the GSEs. So this is already pre-filled information. But essentially, again, once we do get compliant with the GSEs, that's first and foremost on our list, where we'll be adding into automation to actually complete those commentary fields, to complete all those allowable answer fields, and so on and so forth. So again, we're trying to get that 80% completion of the report once you're done with the inspection, and that'll be included with it.
Yeah, understandable.
Cool. So that's the market section. I'll quickly go over the sales comparison approach here. This is quite a bit of change from the 2.6 version of it. However, we made a big effort to display the sales comparison approach in a side-by-side manner, meaning that the subject as well as each comparable will be displayed right next to each other in columns, essentially. And you can see all the fields that might be added that are used within the sales comparison approach. Typical fields such as sale price, sales concessions, the sale date, and you'll be able to provide adjustments for each of these features here. As well as you'll be able to provide project information, whether the subject or the comps are actually in a PUD or a project. And if they are, you have to specify more information on it. Essentially, I guess what the biggest difference between this sales comparison approach and the 1 and 2.6 is that you're really building a full, complete profile of each comp. As you can see, it's a lot more in depth. It will have you specify things like hazard zones, maybe the view of the comparable property, and tons of other things if necessary. There's also fields that are considered optional. So for example, if I wanted to add maybe construction method as a field that I thought was worth noting in this report, I could add that to the report here and provide and select the answer for that for the comp. So again, you're building up a profile for the comp. You'll be asked to specify each dwelling of each comparable, as well as the units involved in that comparable, and then compare it to the subject's unit, dwelling, or their counterpart, essentially. So this is quite a bit of change when coming from 2.6.
So
Now, yep.
let me ask you real quick. I mean, when you had those all expanded for the subject there, as we were scrolling down, there were some areas that looked like that they were grayed out, right? And I would assume it's because it's reflective of the information that we've already provided about the subject property in the report. But to the right of that, when I look at the comparables, those aren't grayed out. And I suspect that's because it could be true for it, in which case, then would it turn on for the subject? Or, I mean,
well,
so for
it
example,
depends.
let's say that a comparable has your subject doesn't have a pool, but a comparable has a pool, right? So now you're going to have to add a line to make the adjustment for the pool for the comp, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is true. Yeah.
Is
So
that what I'm seeing whenever I'm looking at that?
correct. So for example,
Yeah.
like whether contract date is known or unknown, basically this whole contract date row,
Hmm.
it's completely based off of whether we go to the sales contract section, whether
Yeah.
there is a sales contract. And here we specify that there is not.
Right.
So when navigating back to the sales comparison approach, it just wouldn't be relevant for the subject property to collect that.
Correct.
However, for each comparable, it might be.
It is
And
relevant.
so,
Yeah.
right. So you could specify that. And each section or each row kind of has its own, you know, own logic. And that's something as a developer was very tedious to program all that logic into each row. But
Yeah, it would be.
right. And so as you can see here, there's a ton of rows here that could potentially be used in the report. So yeah, I just want to point that out. Each one has their own, I guess, specific logic for when it would be both collected for the subject and for
Hmm.
the comparable. So
Yeah.
that's the sales comparison approach there. And then other thing I want to show off, I mentioned before, is that we have our own analytics platform. And this was something that we built as we were looking across the industry. We saw, there's another big player in the analytics, I guess, field of the appraisal industry. It's TrueTrax. And since we're trying to be that full encompassing software, we thought, hey, why can't we build this into our platform too? So that's exactly what we did. And I'll show it off here. Again, this is called Ivory Analytics. And essentially what we'll do is it will load up a property here and it will show us a map here. So everything you see here are all properties within the subject's market. Again, completely pulled from your MLS. We can see each property's listing status, whether it's active, pending, sold, so on and so forth, and where it is in relation to the subject property, as we can see the subject properties here. Another thing we could do is actually draw a neighborhood here. So I can go ahead and use this drawing tool to actually draw an area or a perimeter around this neighborhood. Maybe I like this. We'll go ahead and close it. We can go ahead and save this neighborhood too, and also apply any filters to it. So maybe I don't want any distressed properties or off-market properties. I can go ahead and specify that, as well as any of these things below here as well. Things like price range, bats, architectural style. I can go ahead and apply that, and it'll filter down our neighborhood here. And then from there, what we can do is select these properties to be used in what we call a comparison set. And what this does, essentially, it sets it up for it to be used for analysis. So I press this Analyze button, and we're instantly greeted here with an analysis. Just an analysis here. So first and foremost, we have the subject market value here, which is based on a regression analysis. We'll also see things about the neighborhood, such as the listings used, the median beds, your built, median living area, and just overall statistics on the market. Another thing to show off is that you can actually specify how many years back you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see as I change the years back, the data also changes with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then additionally, I mentioned in that market section of the report that graphs could be provided. And so again, by using our platform, you have all the graphs available to you and done for you after you define your market here.
Mm-hmm.
So things like median list price, absorption rate, median days on market, years built. Again, those graphs are all done for you, and you can go ahead and either export these graphs into a PDF and actually use that for your 2.6 reports, or you can actually export these individual graphs as images and put it into your 2.6 report as well, or import it into your 3.6 reports. And then if I scroll down here a little bit more, we show how price changes vary via, I guess, in relation to a certain feature of the home. So for example, like we show a price is in relation to bedrooms, bathrooms, living area, year built. We do it for about as many features as we can do it for. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can see how the price affects that. Also, we show historical market trends. We show two graphs for this. The first one is based on raw sale price.
Mm-hmm.
And we show a change month over month and how the market is changing there. We also show it for adjusted sale price, which basically factors in things like beds, baths, gross living area, because those affect sale price as well, as we know, and kind of normalize them. And another thing that we do is that we actually are able to do it in show it in more of a curved fashion. So, and if I change the time, the look back period here, we can see maybe how the seasons impact how sales function over the market too. So, and again, each of these graphs are exportable and to be used within your report as well. And lastly, I promise this is the last thing here, is I want to show off our paired sales analysis tool called the Ivory Adjuster. And essentially what this adjuster does is that from the click of a button, we look through this neighborhood here and actually output and match pairs that that work for your report. So for example here, for each feature, so we have beds, baths, GLA, we find all the pairs that can be utilized for paired sales analysis and do that work for you. So you don't have to go through your MLS and do all your searches and whatnot. We have that handled for you. And once you have those pairs found, you can open up your adjustment workspace here. Maybe we want to, figure out what the adjustment would be for lot size. You can specify that as a feature we want to look for. We can look through the adjustments here. So here we have 93 pairs that we can look through. And we can look through these pairs, and as we click through them, we can see where they are in relation to the subject property. We can see how the two different homes differ from each other and how they are similar. And as a result, see what the corresponding price would be by subtracting the sale prices of the two. And for example, this pair, it was a similarity score of 91%, and we estimated it to be a $10 adjustment per square foot of lot size. And with that, we can go ahead and select that pair. Maybe we thought it was good to use in a report. We can save and finalize it. And we can go off and review it here. And lastly, export that to a PDF that can be used within your report as well. So that's kind of the tools that we have built here at Ivory. Again, our whole purpose is to be that full encompassing program to help you for your appraisal from start to finish. We're heavily leaning into automation and AI. We believe that's going to be the future of reports, and ultimately give you back more time and potentially the ability to do more reports. So that's I guess our demo there.
All right. Well, no, that was a lot of information. Thank you for doing that. Matter of fact, I think this may be the first time in that we've with any of our um, with any of our providers, we had that close of a look at the sales comparison approach. So thank you for that. That was some great information to see. Jake, I see that you were monitoring the question
Mhm.
or the chat
Mhm.
session. I was really kind of paying attention.
Mhm.
But are there any questions here that you'd like to touch on for the group?
Yeah, I see pricing being a very big one.
Okay.
It's yeah. So for limited production, we decided to make our software completely free and available to all appraisers, only just because, it's new software. We want people to understand our technology and get a feel for our technology. During
Uh-huh.
broad production, will be price per report. Only because for a couple reasons. For me as an appraiser, is 11 years. Still running an
Hmm.
appraisal company, by the way. My fees in Michigan have not changed in 11 years. It's been
Yeah.
350 for 11 years, and we want to do price per report because of the unknown volume for 3.6. We don't know yet what lenders and how many lenders are going to be ordering throughout, the beginning of the year of Q1 and Q2. I
Hmm.
do expect, in late spring, for the orders to ramp up. I can't see a lender waiting until the last minute until mandate to really start ordering them. So we want to keep a price per report only because there's really no commitment or loss to an appraiser. An appraiser gets a report for 3.6. They can do price per report. Everyone wins. For the price specifically, we haven't narrowed that down yet. We want to see what appraisers will be charging for the new report. We don't want to price ourselves too high. As a company, for us too as well, we have to make a little money at the end. But I'm trying to find a sweet spot where everyone kind of wins. Um,
Yeah. And I did see one of the questions they were asking about being able to support 2.6.
mhm.
I mean, do you have a solution for 2.6?
No,
Or,
we're
I mean, I guess
just
that would be so, okay. Yeah, I'd
No,
love to
we're
hear
just
that.
solely focused on 3.6. It was really great because Jordan and I built out 2.6 from January 24 to August 24 of last year at Bell Expo. We made our launch and we decided as a company, you know what, just put all of our resources and focus on 3.6 and focus on the future. We understand Alamo and ACI, those guys, they have market share, they have the 2.6 down. And there's a reason why they've been in business for 20 years.
Right.
For Jordan and I, 3.6 is our bread and butter. We want to solely focus on that, get feedback from appraisers, understand what they want to see as soon as mandate hits, and then we can make our changes accordingly during the next remaining, 13 months, 14 months.
Hmm. Well, I mean, so looking ahead, appraisers will definitely have a foot in on both sides, one in each camp through broad production.
Mhm.
Right? You don't know really. I mean, if it could be a 2.6 or a 3%,
Mhm.
3.6 for any mortgage assignment
Mhm.
that they use. But then also kind of going forward from that, there could be some times where they also need to refer back to a 2.6. So
Mhm. It's
you
exactly
do
that.
have a solution for 2.6 for them to do that type of report if need be, right?
So we don't that's also the reason why we are per report because we don't offer
Okay.
260 anymore yet because you know
Okay.
what I can't ask for a
Got
praise
it.
pay for two softwares. Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head right there. There's a reason why we're doing that's not a reason why for two for
Yeah.
per report.
Okay. Okay. So if you have a solution for the 2.6, you can use that. But if you need to do a 3.6,
3.6.
then you do it per report.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right. Okay.
See if I do anything else. I do see a general purpose forum. Yes, that will be coming at some point next year. Hopefully, early next year. We understand that's a big request that we gotten from appraisers. That will be coming to next year. The GSC verification, to put it lightly, Jordan and our dev team. Let's just say they've been working 8 days a week to
Yeah.
get this thing done. We were expecting by end of month to be GSE verified. So we're really at the finish line with the GSE verified and should be ready to complete 3.6 reports and providing them by end of month, which is coming up, which is very hats off to our team. First, I want to give them major credit to our dev team and our engineers for working on this really hard. So
Yeah, and I hear that that process is very particular.
mhm,
You can be off just by the smallest little bit,
mhm,
and it makes a big difference. So
mhm,
it certainly sounds like that there's a lot of work there to make sure you can
yeah,
get that.
mhm.
Um, all right. Well, so. I mean, you kind of showed us where you're at now, and you even shared a little bit about like, hey, this is where we're at. We need to get to here, and then we're
Mhm.
also going to roll in a few more things once we get past that.
Mhm.
Totally understandable. You got to have your focus totally on getting approval.
Mhm.
I mean, is there, if you were to describe the, and you maybe already done this, but if you were to describe, what um, Ivory will be like once you kind of meet your dream, how would you describe the, that that product or that process?
For me, it's two words: speed and accuracy. For me as an appraiser, I
Yeah,
just turned 35, and I'm tired of typing reports at 11 p.m. at night.
yeah,
I want to be able to sit on the couch and relax, and with our technology, the appraisers will be able to do that. It's going to be like Jordan was speaking. We're planning to shoot 80% of the report completed automated for the appraiser. It really just leaves the appraiser to focus on the most important parts: is sales comparison approach, market trends, determine
hmm,
conditions, and leaving that to it. And it's more of a do it for me. Let the appraiser expertise review, sign, send off, and do it that way. So speed and accuracy. Jordan, how about you?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the nail. I think automation is going to be our biggest thing. Again, we're trying to fill out 80% of the report. And I think from all of our solutions, from start to finish, starting at the inspection all the way through the end of the report with the commentary, I think what you can see very, very soon is that being fully done for you. And then you'll be able to focus on the most important things, which is actually coming up with the final value. So that's
yeah.
kind of our goal here.
All right, all right. Well, no, I think. Let me see. We got one last question here, Davis. He was asking about MLS and it not being consistent with UAD requirements. How does Ivory handle that? I mean, is it utilizing some of the AI to interpret those differences or
Yeah. So you to answer that question, we are a tool, so it's not final. Maybe the data that from your MLS is not correct or it's outdated, something along those lines. You have the free will to go in and change it to whatever is correct. So
yeah.
we're getting most of the fluff out of your way, but we want to make sure you still are double checking your work.
Which goes back to our original: AI is not going to replace the appraiser.
Exactly.
100%.
Mhm.
And look, if you're thinking that AI will do everything and you can set it and forget it and not check to see what it's done, I mean that's a poor that's a poor plan.
Yep.
You
No state boards
certainly
would take that as an
no, you,
excuse.
you can't give that excuse. If you put it in your report, you own it, right? I don't
Hmm.
care whether that information came from AI, the county records, an agent, an assistant, or Jesus. Once you put it in your report, it's yours. So, and you're verifying that that's what it, um, that's the accurate information. So, all right, but I will tell you that, I've used AI quite a bit in different applications, and it oftentimes sees things that I miss, right? So even though it's not accurate all the time, as a partner, I think that it's an amazing tool. Because there's been times where it's pointed out things that I totally missed myself, and I'd have to wait, where's it getting that? And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that it really did catch something that helped me out in the long run. So, all right, well, we are at the top of the hour. I again want to thank you and all of our attendees for joining us today and talking UAD 3.6 and Ivory. Is there anything you want to say before we say goodbye or?
Yeah. So if anyone wants, so as soon as we get GSC verification, we're going to do a small beta release for the demos that I've done personally for a meet one-on-one. If you
Mhm.
are looking to be a part of that, please go to our website to sign up for a one-on-one demo, and I'll put you on our beta list. And as soon as you get the verification, you'll have early access.
All right.
It and our website is ivory.com, AIVRE.com. So just want to point that out.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, again, thank you, everyone. Y'all have a great day. And if you're going to the Appraisal Summit, Both Jordan and Jake, that's my understanding you're going to be there. So bring your questions and chat with them there as well. I'll be there as well. So if you see me,
Cool.
give me the thumbs up and say hi.
Sweet. Please
Thanks,
stop by,
everyone.
Bill. We want to see you there.
All right.
Please.
Yes.
Thanks. See you guys.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.